Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Silvers. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Glamazon, as Christine said. Glamazon is Australia's largest real-time marketplace for at-home beauty services. It started close to 5 years ago. In February, we turned 5. But actually, we took a massive pivot in 2016, and I merged with a competitor of mine. And we pivoted from salon appointments to at-home appointments. That was because we saw a cultural shift where peer-to-peer services were becoming not only more prominent, but preferred. I know myself, I prefer to get into an Uber X, which when Uber first released this concept, I thought, I'm not getting into a stranger's car. And now we all use it. And we took a massive pivot. It was the best decision that we'd made. And I'm now a huge advocate for, looking at your competition as an opportunity. It's, first of all, it's validation, but second of all, it's an opportunity to collaborate. Who else in the world has as much passion and drive to fulfill the same goal as you do? And so the combination of Lisa and I really led to great things. Then we were on Shark Tank a little while ago. We actually filmed that a year ago, but it aired in July. And since then, since that massive exposure, things have just been wonderful. The growth has been amazing. I remember it was just the two of us in the office, and it went to air. And, in 3 months, our team's grown to 7 full-time, 2 part-time. That's from July 11th to today. So, yeah, massive growth. It's been an exciting journey.
So, as I said, I'm an advocate for the business and have used it. And knowing now that you are 10,000 subscribers or consumers using your app. And
35,000.
35,000. And you've got 3,000 or more freelancers?
We've got 700 freelancers. We actually get thousands of applications. It's really important to us to maintain a premium quality, and with that comes a screening process similar to Uber. It is manual. It's probably the only part of the business that is manual because our mission is to automate the beauty industry, but it is so vital in terms of a beauty appointment to have the best people. And so, yeah, we probably say no to about 65-70% of our applicants.
Interesting. So you were the first to market. I know you said you merged with your competitor.
Yep.
How did you go about finding that niche, or what led you to this app in the first place?
Yeah, so I used to be a publicist. I worked in Sydney and New York. For 6 years, I was in fashion and beauty, executing these huge campaigns, doing big events, and I always had to look polished for my job. It just wasn't an option. I was in heels every day, and as you can see, I'm relishing not having to be in heels every day now. The constant need to look polished for my job, and then that frustrating experience in booking a salon appointment just led me to, that was the catalyst really, to start Glamazon. I came up with the concept February 2013, and I was still at my PR job, and it took me till October to quit my job and focus on Glamazon full-time. At that moment, I decided to really prove out the concept, and it was only actually really lucky that I got a mentor on board, because I thought, this idea is amazing. My friends think it's amazing. My family think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. It's going to do well. And I spoke to someone who's now has been my mentor for 5 years, and he said, well, have you got any customers paying for it? I was like, no, but I need to build the app first. So I need 50 grand first to build the app to then prove that I have customers. He's like, no, because how are you going to raise that kind of money without getting numbers on the table? So I ended up signing on 10 salons. I went literally door knocking. I decided to go to the best salons in Sydney that I knew of. And I said to them, if I give you a call every afternoon to find out your available appointments for tomorrow, for the next day, will that be okay? And they said, yeah. And I said, because I'm going to try and book those appointments for you. And I said, I just want to create the Uber for beauty. And they're like, what's Uber? Because Uber had been released that year, and no one knew of Uber. I only knew it because we use them for a PR event. So they were that new. And So just with a bit of luck, I guess, and some contacts in the beauty industry, I was able to sign on Joe Bailey and Wildlife, all these beautiful, amazing premium hair salons. And then I spent about $1,000 building this terrible website. The back end was actually a Google Sheet. That's how it functioned. And I built a table, or I had someone build a table for me, that every day when I called the salons and put in the availability into the table, it would basically connect with our front end and show little shop fronts of the salons, and customers could book the appointments. So I thought, okay, this is pretty neat. I've built this now. I'm going to start a Facebook group. There's going to be 200 women in it. 100 were my friends and family, and then each of them had to invite one other person. So it was an unbiased group. And every day, the URL of my website would change based on the table. So I would copy and paste the URL into this Facebook group, and I would do some beauty editorial, like, you know, the inner blogger in me came out, and there was lots of great, you know, fashion week kind of photos, and I tried to do as many tips and tricks that I could, and I would say, by the way, you can book these looks, you know, by clicking on this link and booking in at these salons. And in those 2 weeks, I booked 49 appointments for these salons. But the interesting thing is when they clicked book, it didn't obviously connect to the salon's diary systems. I had no API integration. That would send an email to me, and it would say, you know, Sally Jones wants a blow dry at Joe Bailey. And I would call, you know, Marilyn, the manager of Joe Bailey, and I'd be like, please tell me you still have that 2:30 appointment available. She'd be like, yeah. And I was like, great, I've got a customer for you. And I'd send what looked like an automated email back to Sally, and it was like, your booking is now confirmed, you know. And she thought, wow, this is amazing. The technology is so good. And it's me chained to my desk.
From a tech business, I love this story a lot. So is that where your fake it till you make it came from?
Yeah, that's where fake it till you make it started, really faking the technology. It then progressed to pretending I was Phoebe from customer service, because I wanted customers to have this perception that I was a much larger company than I was. And then after I was playing Lauren, the CEO, and Phoebe from customer service, I actually created an email, Jasmine at glamzonapp.com, and her signature was the PR manager. And so I started contacting all of my old contacts at Vogue and Harper's and Cosmo, pretending to be Jasmine, and I was the new PR manager of this amazing new concept called Glamazon. By the way, Glamazon hadn't even properly launched yet, but in my mind, I was going to launch it really soon. So I thought, long lead mags are like 3-4 months. I'm going to build a whole, you know, product in 3-4 months. Went out to them with the press release that I wrote on behalf of Jasmine, and yeah, before I knew it, Glamazon was in Vogue, Harper's, Cosmopolitan, without even having a product live, and I just felt like the biggest imposter. But I think it also really pushed me to just do it because everyone was relying on me to do it, and all these journalists thought it was wonderful, and I had these, you know, 49 customers from the weeks before, you know, counting on me to build something better. So with that, I sort of built a little business plan, and I took it to my parents, and I sold my car and I moved back in with them, and so I was saving on rent. And I remember, because I was 23 at the time, and I'd just gone through that wave of like 21st birthdays. So I had like my whole wardrobe was Sass and Bide and Zimmerman, and everything went on eBay. And I just saved a little nest egg, not to mention actually when I came up with the idea in February, I was starting to already save until October that I quit my job. So I was able to get an agency to build up my first ever app. And I launched it the 2nd of June 2014. And the day that I launched it, I made revenue. So we do a clip of the ticket model. At the time, I was taking 20% commission from salons, realised that that was too large of a commission after a while, cut it down to 15%, then realised that the same contacts that I had at these salons were all leaving, you know, because salon receptionists are all 20-year-old girls who want to go backpacking around Europe with their boyfriends. So that staff turnover is really high. So I was building relationships constantly with new people. And, you know, over the next 2 years, I just realised, the rest of 2014, 2015, I just realised the salon stuff just wasn't going to work, even after I'd secured an exclusive API integration deal with MindBody, which is a huge software company that was going to give me access to the real-time data directly into my app. Even after that, we did the financial model and it just wasn't going to work. And then I just saw at-home services and I thought, this is perfect. Somebody coming to me, bringing the salon to me, and all of a sudden mums who, you know, barely take care of themselves anymore because they're breastfeeding or they have, you know, a kid, they're running after children, and, you know, even nursing homes and hospitals, people with limited mobility, brides who need, you know, 5 of their bridesmaids to get their hair and makeup done. All these wonderful opportunities started to open up. Not to mention salons are closed on a Sunday and Monday usually. So Sunday and Monday, we're crazy busy. So it worked well.
And corporates that need to go to gala dinners all the time last minute. So you mentioned briefly before about your mentor, and I think it's really important that we cover the breadth of your business. So who is your mentor and what did they bring to the table?
So Robert Kowalski is the one of the founders and CEO of Ztings. So he's been in the tech space for like a decade. And actually, my mum and his mum were on the cross trainer next to each other at the gym, bragging about their children. And my mum was like, "Well, my daughter's got, you know, building this app," and he, you know, his mum was like, "Well, you know, my son has an app," and that's how we got together. It was really weird. But he is the most fantastic mentor, and it really taught me that I wouldn't be here without him 100%, because I was going to go head first into making a whole bunch of mistakes, and he really saved me from that. Mentors have done it all before. You know, they've made every mistake. Learn from that. Why not leverage from that amazing opportunity?
All right, last question from me. And a little bit you mentioned about Shark Tank earlier on. We just want to know, you know, why did you decide to do that? And what has it brought to you besides the growth for your business?
This is a really funny story. I applied for Shark Tank in July last year before I'd met Lisa. And then I met Lisa early August, and then I got the acceptance letter, and I was like, how am I going to tell Lisa? This is so embarrassing. Got into Shark Tank. And then she approached me, and she was like, look, I've got to tell you something. I got into Shark Tank. And I was like, I got into Shark Tank too. We'd both separately applied, so we had to go to Network 10, say that we were now the one company. And then, yeah, we went on Shark Tank. Shark Tank, by the way, I mean, if anyone wants to know the ins and outs of it, you know, it's 2.5 hours of a business chat. It really is. I know it gets condensed into like 5 to 8 minutes of something that's quite entertaining, but we had to know our lifetime value, our customer acquisition cost, burn rate, churn rate, run rate, every single number. And yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend anyone going on Shark Tank because it was amazing exposure, but only do it if you've got a great business that's already seeing growth. We were genuinely seeing growth and we knew our numbers, so we were confident. Our strategy was go on the show, get some exposure, see what happens. Went on the show, 1.7 million viewers tuned in, which was crazy. Then it was rerun 3 times. So we grew 300% that month. The next month we grew another 150%. Now we're doing consistent about 63% month-on-month growth. That was our last month. But yeah, about 60%. Because of that massive exposure. And now, I mean, to Miles's point, know your customer though. We actually hadn't spent a cent on marketing or advertising. And then we got this influx of demand. And then what we decided to do was do a complete survey of all of our customers, all of our stylists, find out exactly what, you know, they like, what they don't like. Also, we have amazing analytics tools. These are the keys to any business. Oh my gosh, like you can think that you have this assumption that you're going to create something that everyone's going to love and they may hate it. I created this page called the trend page. I thought people were going to book beauty appointments based on like a trend. So you'd like click a picture to then book that exact trend. And no one used it. And also, like, pink is my least favourite colour in the whole entire world. When Glamazon started, it was turquoise, which I love. And then, you know, I did a bit of a test and put the pink version and the blue version. Actually, because it was my sister, she said, you can't release a beauty brand that's blue. And I was like, watch me. I don't know. She was like, why don't you do something a bit more relatable, like pink or purple? So reluctantly I did, and I asked everybody. 100% of the feedback said pink. And I was like, oh my God, I hate pink. But it suits the market. And then I thought that my market was going to be a different age group, and you just need to know your market, and that just plays into everything. And your customer acquisition cost, if you can nail that and know that, you know how many customers you can get. So use that to your advantage. Be really, really careful with it. It's a very special number. It's our biggest metric. That and repeat business. I think, as Miles said, we love our customers that book once, obviously, but it's the ones that book twice and 3 times and 4 times. I forgot the first part of the question.
About Shark Tank, but I think that answered a lot of questions in the meantime. We've only got a minute left with Lauren, and I just wanted to open up to the floor if anyone had a question. Otherwise, we'll be around for a chat later. Anyone? No? Okay, well then my last question.
Yeah.
What is next? What is next for Glamazon?
Well, you know, but we've been travelling to the US a little bit. Funnily enough, not looking for opportunities in America, but based on what we've done before, merging with a competitor, we've been meeting with all of our competitors over there, and that's to potentially move into Asia. And, Australians have amazing trading opportunities with Asia. Unlike America, it's a little bit difficult. So we have opportunities that we can each leverage from. They're also raising in the realms of 50 million. We're doing a $1.5 million raise. So we don't have the same sort of access to funding, different size markets, basically. But when you can do a joint venture or a merger to move into a separate market, amazing things can happen. And we've seen firsthand what the collaboration of competition can do for our business. So that's what's next.
Thank you very much. Amazing story, as usual. I love hearing it. And I think you all just, congratulate Lauren and a big clap. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.